References for 2026. David Dida, a heterosexual teacher, in The Way of the Superior Man, he views erotic polarity as a spiritual practice for growth and connection across genders. Quote, "The erotic is the force that opens you to life. This supports my pillar of integration over intensity. Erotic states as rhythmic exchanges that expand capacity without hierarchy." Mantak Chia, a straight Taoist master, in The Multi-Orgasmic Man, he teaches sexual energy, qi, as a healing force for vitality and emotional balance. He says, sexual energy is the creative energy of the universe. He ties into my nervous system cycle using breath and mindfulness to shift from constriction to openness, inclusive of all bodies. Adrienne Rich, in her essay Compulsory Heterosexuality and Lesbian Existence, Rich explores how societal forces suppress women's erotic connections, especially between women, as a form of power and self-knowledge. She writes, women identification is a source of energy, a potential springhead of female power. This echoes Lourdes's erotic as an assertion of life force, extending to non-romantic bonds and communal healing for protection and protect for my idea of hearts as sewn communities. Amber Hollybow, a queer feminist activist, in works like My Dangerous Diaries, she reclaims erotic power for marginalized bodies, working-class queer disabled. She argues that desire isn't just pleasure, but a radical tool for survival and agency, especially after shame and trauma. Quote, "Desire is the only way I know to keep myself alive. This fits my safety, comes before courage, erotic openness as a reclaiming of life after violation." Gail Rubin, in Thinking Sex. Rubin defends sexual variation as a domain of exploration and power, critiquing how sexual pathologizes non-normative eros. She distinguishes the erotic from the pornographic, much like Lorde, seeing it as a creative knowledge-producing force. Her charmed circle of sexuality highlights how consent and safety enable true agency, resonating with my emphasis on sex as optional and inclusive. Esther Perel, a heterosexual psychotherapist, in books like Mating in Captivity, she explores how sustaining erotic desire in long-term relationships builds emotional intelligence and vitality. Quote, "Eroticism in the home requires active engagement and willful intent. This aligns with my view of sex as a state of intentional openness, helping heal relational shutdowns through playful agency." Gail Ogden, a straight sexuality therapist and author of Women Who Love Sex, she integrates spirituality and eros as paths to wholeness, especially for women reclaiming pleasure after trauma. She writes, "Sexuality as a gateway to the soul, a source of profound healing." Her work echoes Lourdes' erotic as unexpressed power, adding a force of embodied rituals for non-sexual aliveness. Star Hawk, in eco-feminist works like The Spiral Dance, she links erotic power to earth-based spirituality and communal ritual. Quote, "This erotic is the root of all power, not coercive. This adds cyclical nature-inspired layer to my color schemes, erotic states as seasonal windows of healing." Gil Calafia, Now Pat, a key sex-positive queer thinker in public sex, Cꜷses frames consensual kink and varied sexualities as paths to empowerment and healing. Quote, "Sex is the alchemy that turns pain into power. This directly supports my trauma-informed view. Consensual 2026 states rewire constriction into openness without hierarchies." These additions make it crystal clear. 2026 isn't about fitting into any category. LGBTQ plus, straight or otherwise. You don't need a letter, a label, or even a partner to enter these states of openness. The erotic, as these voices show, is simply your body's ancient way of saying yes to life, healing, and feeling fully alive. This is yours to define, or not define at all. These deepen 2026 beautifully. Regardless of how you identify, or if you identify at all, how, as an erotic state, breath, touch, creativity, presence, helped you reclaim your power and feel whole. There are no boxes, pressure, just permission.